I really can't stand people who do bad work, period. But there's two categories of those clowns that just blow straight up my nose. And one is the guy who doesn't have the proper training and will operate on a young, vulnerable patient and doesn't know what he's talking about or what he's doing and telling these patients all these ridiculous claims that don't do anyone any good. You suck. You suck. And the other one is the salesman phony. The guy that will stand in a practice and tell all these BS claims about how good they are and how much experience they have, but at the end of the day, they're just a consultant selling hair transplants done by unlicensed technicians. But when you put those two together, when you're a doctor with no experience and acting as a salesman selling technician-based hair transplants to a young guy, a young vulnerable patient, you really suck. BJ Baldwin is a famous off-road racer and a celebrity. And he's done very well in the off-road arena. Last week, he had a hair transplant in Las Vegas, which to me is one of the worst places in the United States to have a hair transplant. And you guys are going to see why. He was posting or live streaming this on Instagram. And for most of you guys that follow me, last week I was in Panama for the ISHRS International Hair Conference, training other doctors on hair restoration procedures. And when something like this happens, I mean, my phone just gets blown up. I just get messages left and right from people. And, you know, this is being sent to me, and I'm literally sitting in a conference talking about botched hair transplant surgery, watching one go on live. And, you know, it's sad. So I have the videos. I'm going to play through them, and I'm going to explain everything that I find wrong and, you know, everything patients should understand about a hair transplant surgery. So let's get started. First thing is, here's the first frame of the video. Being a bad mother effer with a high pain tolerance helps. Well, no. Hair transplant surgery is not a painful surgery. It shouldn't hurt. So you don't really need a high pain tolerance to have a hair transplant surgery. You just need a doctor that knows how to properly administer the anesthesia and a nerve block. That's it. It's pretty simple. And then down here, you're going to see it says, but a belly full of narcotics helps more. Again, we don't do bellies full of narcotics. It's not necessary. It's not needed. So just looking at this, it's telling me that our patient didn't have proper nerve block and a proper anesthesia during his surgery. All right, so let's hit play and go through this, and I'm going to kind of stop it and narrate, you know, what's going on and the things that I see wrong. So the first thing you're going to see is what looks to be a technician performing hair surgery. I don't think that this person creating these incisions is a physician. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe it is a doctor, but I don't think so. I actually don't think that there's a doctor in the United States that would purposely perform something this bad or be trained this poorly. So what you're seeing is this is his frontal zone, his hairline, and a technician, doctor, somebody is using an 18 gauge needle to create incisions into his hairline to reconstruct his hairline. Okay? Now, I don't have an issue with needles being used for the incisions, for the recipient side incisions. There's times where I use needles. I use sapphire blades. There's a lot of different tools or instruments to be used, okay? But what I do have an issue with is the fact that there's no depth gauge on this needle. I'm going to hit play again. And you're going to see that this technician is very rapidly creating these incisions, all right? In a hair transplant, this is probably the most important part of the procedure. Why does there need to be a depth gauge on the incision? Because grafts have a specific length, and that's different between people. For example, Asian patients will have longer grafts, and Caucasian American patients will have shorter grafts. If you create an incision that's too deep and you place a graft in there, what will happen is you get something called pitting. And if you guys follow me on Instagram or social media, you'll see all the repair cases I do, and I point out a lot of pitting, especially in patients' hairline. The pitting, it's exactly what it is. It looks like a pit, like a crater at the base of every single hair follicle that's transplanted. It looks terrible. It looks so bad, and it's almost impossible to fix. The only thing we can do is mask it with a properly done hair transplant, okay? Now, let's say that depth is too shallow. It's not deep enough. What happens is the graft doesn't go in all the way. And if the graft doesn't go in all the way, it sticks out too much. If it sticks out too much, patients get what's called tenting. You literally have a tent of skin at the base of every single hair follicle. And that looks terrible. It's impossible to fix, okay? So seeing recipient site incisions being made with an 18 gauge needle, which is far too large to use in a hairline, way too big. And that's why you see them bleeding so much. I'm going to get to that. But with an 18 gauge needle, those incisions are so big, you cannot put the hair close together to create a natural density and to create a good hairline. So you're using really large incisions into the scalp, no depth gauge, no precision, and you're going at a very high speed. It's just terrible. It's poor work. There's nothing that could be good said about this. And you see him bleeding because she's going too deep and damaging the vascular bed in the frontal zone. You've seen my videos. My patients never bleed like this. This is just bizarre that somebody is doing this. So let's hit play and follow along. So I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to point out 3 things. The first one, look at his face. He's grimacing. That's hurting him. And those are where these comments of having a high pain tolerance and a belly full of narcotics comes into play. This to me means that he didn't have proper anesthesia. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have a proper nerve block. Patient is in pain. During this portion, a patient needs to feel no pain, and they should be sitting in a chair very comfortably. BJ is not, okay? The second thing I'm going to point out is what you're going to see here now is a syringe. This is a syringe with an 18 gauge needle attached to it. Again, I don't have a problem using needles for recipient site incisions. My problem is using an 18 gauge needle, which is far too big, no depth setting on the needle. And now what they've done is they've taken this and they've added a syringe to it, and they've increased their leverage arm. And what this has done is it's decreased their accuracy considerably. These incisions are so important. They dictate the angle that the hair is going to grow out of. If you make these incisions straight up and down, the hair is going to grow straight up and down. If you make these incisions horizontally, these grafts are going to grow horizontally. You cannot make uniform angles when you have a needle attached to a syringe. You have lost all of your accuracy, and accuracy is the most important thing when you are reconstructing a patient's hairline. A good example is if you take a ruler and you tape a pencil or a pen to the end of it, and then hold the end of the ruler and try to write your name. It's going to be gibberish. It's not accurate. Then take your same pen and hold the bottom of it and write your name. It's going to come out looking a lot better and a lot cleaner. And I can't believe that I'm seeing this. Okay? So let's go ahead and hit play, and we'll talk about some other stuff. So again, I want you to see the speed at which these incisions are being made. This is supposed to be a very, very accurate, delicate procedure. There's no delicacy, there's no accuracy. The other thing that I want to mention is you're going to see that the technician is wearing these loops. Now, we wear loops in the hair transplant surgery to be able to see better, okay? But I've put here in the background, the loops that the technician is wearing are $45 loops. And the reason why, one of the reasons why I'm more inclined to think that this is a technician is A, because I can't see a doctor doing work this bad, and B, in the hair transplant industry, this is kind of what hair transplant techs wear. They don't spend the expensive money for, expensive loops. These are fine for what a technician's or assistant's job is in a hair transplant. They're totally fine, but they are not fine to be making 1,000 or 2,000 incisions into a patient's scalp at a proper depth and a proper angle. You might as well just close your eyes and just jab someone in the head with a needle, because that's basically what's being done here. I mean, I wear like a $5,000 pair of loops that have been made for my eyes and my working field to do these surgeries. You can't do this with a $45 pair of loops. So let's hit play and follow along. So I'm going to stop it here again, and you're going to see how much this patient is bleeding. A patient should not be bleeding like this in the recipient site creation phase. Number one, there should be two people doing this. One patient should be putting one assistant or technician should be putting traction on the patient's skin. They should be pulling the skin. And number two, the doctor should be making the incisions by hand. Because you have a large needle, because you have no depth control, they're going too deep, they're destroying the vascular bed underneath, and that's why you're having this much bleeding. And you're going to see the next video that we do and what that's going to translate into. So let's follow along.
They're doing a fantastic job, and they had a goal.
They're doing a fantastic job. BJ, you have no idea whether they're doing a fantastic job or not. They're doing a terrible job. This is about as bad as I could see. That's the kind of job that they're doing. And unfortunately for a patient, they have no idea what's being done. They have no idea whether they're having a good surgery and or not. They don't know. BJ thinks they're doing a fantastic job. Based on what? Dude, your head is bleeding all over the place. Everything they're doing is wrong. This is not a fantastic job.
Idea. They're getting most of the hair to fix my hairline from my back.
Guys, does this look like an exceptional surgery to you? He just said that they're getting back hair from his lower back to transplant into his hairline. I cannot begin to tell you what a poor idea that is. Back hair is not scalp hair. Back hair is not going to look right in a hairline. This is terrible judgment. It's terrible planning of a surgery. It's something that I can't believe is going on in the United States.
My lower back and the knuckles of my feet.
So again, you're seeing the incisions being made with a needle added to the syringe. Again, just think of writing your name on a piece of paper if you tape a pen to a ruler and hold the ruler. It's completely inaccurate.
If they can't get hair from my back.
All right, so he's had his hair transplant, and now he's starting to post about, I think this is probably the next day. The first thing you're going to see is how much blood is on his head and fresh blood dripping down his forehead. If you guys have seen my videos with our patients the next day, it looks nothing like this. You should not be bleeding like this post-transplant.
Morning. Look at all that fucking hair.
Look at all that hair. He has no idea what this is going to look like when it's done. But let's talk about a couple of things. Number one, again, is the blood. This is just shouldn't be happening. It is possible that he lost some grafts, and that's why he's having this kind of bleeding. And that, again, can be due to having incorrect recipient sites made for the size of the grafts. The other thing I'm going to start talking about is his hairline. His hairline design is almost like just a straight line going all the way back. It's not designed properly or correctly. And you're going to see, as the video goes on, how uneven and off it is.
I'm looking fucking sexy. I'm looking good.
So he's looking sexy and looking good. I'm not going to address that because I'm not here to address that. But what I am going to tell you guys is you can, again, see all this scabbing, all this blood, which shouldn't be there. And you start to see his donor zone. Now we're starting to see the side of his donor zone here with a lot of scabbing. And to me, what that's telling me is, they've used very large punches to extract these hair follicles from. And that is going to leave considerable scarring back here and a decimation of his donor zone. This is going to be really hard for another doctor to fix because he's not going to have good donor hair or good donor density to go in and repair this. So let's listen in. There we go. Stopped. You can see all of this scabbing. Now, again, if you guys follow me, you'll see that our patients leaving surgery don't have this kind of bleeding or scabbing in their donor zone. We use very small punches. It's done by me. It's done by hand. It's done accurately. We have smaller grafts. We don't need to use 18-gauge needles to place those grafts into the hairline. All of these things make a difference in a hair transplant. One of the questions I get asked frequently in consultations from patients is, I've been to your website. I love all the stuff you put out. The work you do seems so great. Why is it that you're better? Why are your results so good? Why? And I don't really answer patients. But here's the answer. I don't do any of this stuff that you see in this video. I don't do any of this. So, this is what's being done in a hair transplant. I don't do any of this. And that's what makes a hair transplant go much better and look better. So this video is done. We're going to jump to this video, which looks like he posted it the next day. So let's hit play.
As you can see, the swelling has gone down substantially.
So as you can see, the swelling has gone down substantially. That means that he possibly had more swelling than what he has right now. That's crazy. I do about 200 hair transplants a year, probably more. I get maybe one patient a month that has swelling. It's nothing like this. His eyes are almost swollen shut. Post hair transplant, patients should not have this kind of swelling. This kind of swelling, part of it has to do with all the tissue destruction they did doing the surgery in the hairline, in the recipient zone, as well as the donor zone, and also possibly due to how much fluids and anesthetics were used during the procedure. They probably did not know how to do a proper nerve block. They loaded him up probably with a bunch of lidocaine, and that's another reason why this kind of swelling is possibly happening. This is not typical, and it's not normal, and it shouldn't happen. But to me, it's very blatant why it did happen. So let's play along.
Well, maybe not substantial. I don't know if I can tell. Has it gone down a little bit?
And again, if you start to look now, you can start to see the difference between the left side here and the right side. The right side of the hairline is considerably lower than the left. Let's see if I can find a better frame of that.
Am I still sexy?
So look at that. This is going to show you again. This is probably almost looks like it's half an inch higher than is this side. It's very straight. It's just a very poorly designed hairline.
I still think I look all right. Maybe I should get some ibuprofen and some ice packs. You think?
So ibuprofen and ice packs. No, I don't think. That's not going to help your swelling at all. Unfortunately, nothing is going to help his swelling. Ibuprofen isn't and ice packs aren't. The only thing that's going to help is time. That swelling is going to go away, but it's just time. It's not going to be ibuprofen or ice packs that are going to help with the swelling.
I'm kind of like this. Look, I don't even need a costume for Halloween. I could just walk around like this. Look like a fucking zombie.
So, I mean, it is what it is. He got a 2-for-1. He got a botched hair transplant and a Halloween costume at the same time. And unfortunately, you know, he's happy about this, but I think that when reality sets in, you know, he's going to be really rethinking this. And, you know, guys, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope everything I've told you in this video is wrong, and BJ ends up having a stellar hairline and an amazing hair transplant. But guys, just look at these two photos. Look at this photo and this photo. It does not take a doctor to figure out that this does not look right, and it's probably not going to lead to successful results. So let's play along.
Am I still sexy? So I might need some help.
So now he needs help, but you know, he's now just focused on being a good dad and going trick-or-treating with his kids. You know, and that's what he's trying to do. It's Halloween, and you know, more props to you. It's great to be a good dad.
Or Halloween.
I want to just show here how much scabbing he has and how off his hairline is compared to this side. You guys can see it, and it's pretty blatantly obvious. It's just not gonna be proportional or symmetrical at all. So you guys can see.
I need to get into Eagle.
See that, and some of his swelling has come down. It looks like maybe his eyes, this eye's a little worse. It's come down more into the eyes, and probably by the next day his eyes were swollen shut. I didn't see any other videos from him being posted. I was trying to see if there was another follow-up video, but I didn't see one. So let's talk about a learning experience with this, because the reason I'm doing this is not to bash BJ. Unfortunately, BJ didn't know. A lot of people, you know, think to themselves like, gosh, you know, celebrities have all this money, they have all these resources. How do they get messed up? How do they get a bad, you know, cosmetic surgery? You know, I fixed a lot of celebrities' hair in the last 10, 12 years. And the one thing between all of them is they don't do the research. They don't spend the time doing the research. And, you know, they just ask somebody, and the person that they ask has no clue what they're talking about, but they refer someone, the celebrity goes in, gets the procedure done, everything goes wrong, and then they usually hire a firm to find them a reputable surgeon that can fix what's happened to them. So, you know, unfortunately, BJ didn't know. This isn't his fault. It's just, you know, what's happened to him. And, it's really, again, this comes down to, hair transplant practices that are doing this. So let's talk about the learning experience, which is why I'm doing this. It's so anybody watching this, including my patients, understand how to find a doctor, where to look for a doctor, and signs of what you need to look out for so that this kind of stuff doesn't happen to you. So I got the website pulled up here, just showing those loops. The technician loops, which are about $45. Like I said, you can't really see out of these things. So just might as well close your eyes and do surgery looking out of these. The first thing to do if you're looking for a hair doctor is look at their website. If you go to their website, you should see the doctor on the website, not a salesman or a consultation. There should be all kinds of pictures of the doctor's work, videos of the doctor's work, and you'll see on my site I have videos, I have photos. It's our Instagram down here is linked, and and this is, you could see our most recent post, which is me at the ISHRS conference with another hair transplant doctor. Okay, befores and afters. If you click this, you're going to see hundreds of befores and afters. It's not 1, 2, or 3 pictures. You're going to see tons of befores and afters. Videos. You want to see the doctor doing videos. Strip, FUE, hair loss, PRP, all that kind of stuff. And you're going to see how many videos I have. I have videos from start to end with hair transplants being done. Explanations of things, how we do things, why we do things. Me on TV shows. This shows how long I've been doing this for, how I'm actually really doing this every day. It's very, very important and something patients overlook. If you look under the results tab, you're going to see my case studies. Most of these are botched hair transplant repairs. But you're going to see case studies of things that I've repaired. This is a botched repair. 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 So you can see, and look to the right-hand side here, archives from October 2022, November 2014. This is 8 years worth of case studies that I have posted. This shows a practice that knows what they're doing, okay? Now, in BJ Baldwin's video, he called out the website of the place where he had his hair transplant done. And I'm not trying to bash their website, but here's the website, okay? Simple as this, contact us. Who are you contacting? Call or text Lee in Las Vegas. Hey, it's Lee, please give me a call. Like, why are you looking to talk to Lee? You want to talk to a doctor. You don't want to talk to a sales consultant. You don't want to talk to, a technician or assistant. You want to talk to the doctor that is doing your hair transplant surgery. This is one of the number one things to look out for when you are looking for a hair transplant. Now, where can you find accredited, good doctors where you're going to have a good outcome? It's very easy, guys. IAHRS, right here. I'm going to put it in again, IAHRS. You Google that. Click it. It's going to load. International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. Come to this link and just click Find a Surgeon. It doesn't get any easier than this. All of these red states are where there's accredited IAHRS doctors. And if you're outside of the United States, Europe, Turkey, Canada, India, Asia, Caribbean, there's probably in total about 60, 70 IAHRS accredited doctors in the world. These are the guys you should be looking for. If we click Nevada, what are you going to see? I'm the only guy in the state of Nevada. If you don't want to have your hair transplant done in Nevada, let's go back to California, one state away. Here's a list of accredited doctors where you're going to have a consultation with and end up having a good outcome. Now, between us all, everybody's different. And, there are better guys in the IHRS and guys that aren't as good. But at the end of the day, this is like the top of the top. And, you're going to have a honest and good outcome with this. It just is this is the easiest way to do this. The next thing, you don't want to go to the IHRS, American Hair Loss Association. Go to the American Hair Loss Association. Right here, surgical hair restoration. It's got all this information here. It's just so easy. It's all there for you. Find a doctor right here. Go through this list of doctors, all the states, everywhere where you can find accredited hair transplant physicians, okay? The last thing I'm going to tell you guys to do is go to Google. Google. You are going to put in top 25 hair transplant surgeons in the world. It's written by a guy named Specs. He's got a lot of experience in the hair transplant community. He's got a radio show, a live radio show that they do weekly. He's in all these publications, and he himself has had 10, 12 hair transplants, botched ones, repaired ones. He wrote an article. If you come here to Ape to Gentleman and click it, this is the best hair transplant doctors in the world, 2022 edition. All you need to do is scroll through this article and read through it, because it's going to talk about a lot of things you should be aware of, okay? And at the end, it's going to give you a list of all the doctors on it, 25 doctors on it. And it's sorted alphabetically. If you come down here, and it's guys and girls, it's not just guys only. If you come down here all the way to the end, you're going to see me here. And this is all my information, all the stuff that I do, and links on how to find us at modenahair.com, right there. So, guys, I hope this is a learning experience for everyone. BJ, I'm really sorry that this happened to you. I really wish you the best. I think that you are going to probably need a corrective surgery. And when you do, if you've seen this video, you can contact any of the guys through the IHRS or on the top 25 list. And, any of us can help you. But, for the rest of the people looking at this video, I want everyone to understand that this is a very dangerous field. There's a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of marketing. There's a lot of stuff being sold that's not real, and there's a lot of guys that don't know what they're doing. So do your research, pay attention, because once you get messed up, doesn't matter who's fixing it, you can never make it the same. So I hope that this has helped you guys. I wish everybody the best, and if you have any other questions, reach out to our website, modenahair.com. You can always send a virtual evaluation as well to us, and I will personally get back to you within a few days. Take care, guys.